World War II began in 1939 and ended in 1945. World War II began in September 1939 when Britain and France declared war on Germany following Germany's invasion of Poland. Although the war was triggered by Germany's invasion of Poland, the causes of the war are more complex. At the end of World War I, Lloyd George of England, Orlando of Italy, Clemenceau of France, and Woodrow Wilson from the United States met to discuss how Germany was to pay for World War I. In France, they came up with the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty had many clauses. One of them was the War Guilt Clause. This clause stated that Germany should accept the blame for starting World War I. Germany also had to pay $6,000 million for reparations caused by the war. The Germans also had to disarm their army and give back land that was taken from other countries. Anschluss, union with Austria, was forbidden. Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in January 1933. Almost immediately, he began secretly building up Germany's army and weapons. In 1934, he increased the size of the army, began building warships, and created a German air force. Although Britain and France were aware of Hitler's actions, they were also concerned about the rise of communism and believed that a stronger Germany might help prevent the spread of communism to the West. In 1936, Hitler ordered German troops to enter the Rhineland. France and Britain could have stopped this, but they did not want to start another war. Hitler made important alliances during 1936. The first was called the Rome-Berlin Axis Pact, which allied Hitler's Germany with Mussolini's Italy. The second was called the Anti-Comintern Pact, which allied Germany with Japan. Hitler's next step was to take back the land Germany lost. German troops invaded Austria. 99% of Austrian people wanted Anschluss. The Austrian leader asked Britain, France, and Italy for aid, but they did nothing. March 1939, Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia. Despite calls for help from the Czechoslovak government, neither Britain nor France took action. Now Poland was at risk. France and Germany promised to take action if Poland was attacked. September 1, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland, which triggered the start of World War II. The League of Nations was set up to keep world peace. It was intended that all countries would be members of the League and that if there were disputes between countries, they would be settled by negotiation rather than by force. If this failed, then countries would stop trading with the aggressive country. In 1931, Japan was in depression. Their army invaded Manchuria in China, an area rich in minerals and resources. China appealed to the League for help. The Japanese government were told to order the army to leave Manchuria immediately. However, the army took no notice of the government and continued its conquest of Manchuria. Japan's response later on was to leave the League of Nations. Ultimately, the League of Nations failed because they did not stop World War II. There are four main reasons why they failed. First off, not all countries joined the League. Even though the idea was produced by Woodrow Wilson, there was a change of government in the United States. The new Democratic government refused to join the League. Also, Germany was not allowed to join since they started the war. Russia was excluded because of fear of communism. Second reason is because the League had no power. The main weapon of the League was to ask member countries to stop trading with the aggressive country. Third, the League had no army. Soldiers were to be supplied by member countries. Many countries were reluctant to supply their soldiers because they did not want to lose their men. Fourth, the League was unable to act quickly. The Council of the League of Nations only met 4 times a year, and decisions had to be agreed by all nations. When countries called for the League to intervene, the League had to set up an emergency meeting, hold discussions, and gain the agreement of all members. The United States joined World War II on December 8, 1941, the day after the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii was bombed by the Japanese Navy. On December 11, 1941, Germany and Italy both declared war on the United States. Thus, the United States was in World War II. The first German serviceman killed in World War II was killed by the Japanese. The first American serviceman killed was killed by the Russians. The youngest U.S. serviceman was 12 years old, named Calvin Graham, USN. He was wounded in combat and given a dishonorable discharge for lying about his age. His benefits were later restored by an act of Congress.
Oh, didn't see you there. Many people know about Germany invading Poland. What they didn't know was the inside job. To make it appear that Poland first attacked Germany, Jews were dressed in Polish uniforms and then killed by German soldiers. They didn't place their bodies in strategic places around the radio station. And Polish-speaking Germans then did a broadcast speaking Polish. This was an excuse. Hitler needed to invade Poland on September 1st, 1939.